Well, after I got through with my morning complaining about where I live, um, I wanted to talk about my parachuting photos that I put on. I tried to see, there might be some more of those, um, possibly. I know there's one of me sitting there, it's just of me sitting there smiling a lot after I did it. But I might put that on at some point. But yeah, I used to parachute, and I used to be skinny, skinny, skinny. I was the majority, well, a good portion of my life, I was very thin. So for me to be heavy is actually not, I guess it's become the new normal, but a lot of my problems started with my back problems. And once you have back problems, you just, I can move. I could probably do some exercise, not all of it. I can run an emergency, but I'm not very good at it. Um, I lost that ability some time ago. And so, I used to do everything. I used to do everything. I was a very fit person. And for many years, I would have checkups and be fine, fine, fine. Then they began to detect a heart problem. I don't know, in my early 30s maybe. And then in my early 40s, I got cancer. And once I did chemo and stuff, well, then the heart problem is much worse after that. And also began to have the back problems. And so they noted the back problems right at the end of the time I left Minnesota. And they showed me the x-rays, and they said, right here's the problem. And I went, I don't see anything. So I just kind of scoffed at it. Well, then we got over in Colorado, and life was a lot rougher. I was having to chop wood and haul wood and do things like that. I knew I wasn't doing very well. And finally, when I did get to a doctor, by that time, a lot of damage had been done. And by that time, all kinds of things had occurred. And so from the time I looked at my x-rays at the end of Minnesota to the time that I saw him again in Colorado, I was very shocked. Very shocked. So I was so shocked I didn't even think they had the right x-rays. I told them they had the wrong x-rays, and they said, no, 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 these are the right ones. And I was just like, they can't be. That can't be me. So, so anyway, and my diagnosis was so serious that they actually made me repeat it back to them so that they would know that I understood the seriousness of it. So there's that. But I think the back problems and things have greatly slowed me down. And since I've been slowed down, and also since, I didn't have proper housing for a while, um, I just wasn't getting exercise. And also was losing hope. So I have thought about, I want to try to walk more. I did walk to church once, and it went just fine. It was a little hard, but and I walked once to another church in the middle of the winter. That was really hard. And it was also freezing cold. So I don't know. I should start taking daily walks if I can. I've got some business going this morning that I got to do, but maybe this afternoon, if it's not too stormy, maybe I could take a walk. It was, when I left the house, which wasn't very long ago, it was raining a little bit. It's kind of quit that now. Kind of going to be a stormy day, I think, though. Well, uh, I just wanted to talk about my parachuting, though, because the reason I did parachuting was that I had grown up in a small Midwestern town in north central Missouri. I went to college in Illinois, and I spent some time over in Illinois. And then I decided to come back to my hometown. So I came back to my hometown. And during that time is when I learned to be a scuba diver. I was a certified scuba diver for a long time. I used to have my card for a very long time. I don't know if I still have it now or not. And then I also did skydiving, and the reason I did it was because somebody opened a skydiving school in my town. And so a number of people, my brother included, I had a habit of following my brother and doing whatever he did for a long time. And at some point, I decided my brother wasn't perfect, and maybe I oughtn't to do that. But I did for a long time. So he said how cool it was. He was going to make a jump, and I came out to see his jump, and it was pretty cool. And he was very excited, and he wanted me to do it. So I decided to sign up and do it. The way they did it was they had classes in half a day. So we came in the morning and we sat in a classroom, and they taught us all about the science of it, and they taught us, what could happen, and what to do if different things happened, and how dangerous was it, and just all kinds of things. And so we took that lesson, and then toward the end of that, we went out and we practiced. So when you get out of the airplane, there was a little platform and you would have to put a foot on, and there was and you'd hang onto the strut, and then there would be a certain way you'd position your body, and then they would be like 1001, 1002, 1003, jump. And then you would go off to the side, you would arch your back, and then the chute should deploy. And of course, when you start out, you're doing static line, so you're not pulling your own chute. It takes a while to learn to pull your own chute properly. So anyway, I only did about 4 jumps all total, because the 4th jump I screwed up my knee when I landed, and after that I just decided I wouldn't do it anymore. But anyway, I'm glad I did it. It was exciting. It was a great experience, and I'm glad that I did it. But yeah, my body, I used to be very fit, and I kept myself that way for a long, long time. But my body never was super strong. It just never was super strong. I know our teeth were never super strong, and I think a lot of it's because when Mom had us, they were going through poverty. And I really think that's a lot of it. She probably just wasn't getting maybe the nutrition and things she needed. Maybe the calcium or whatever. I don't know. But I think maybe that's the case, because my sister also ended up with leukemia. And my sister, when she was born, she was a quote-unquote blue baby. So it had something to do with my mom's RH factor, and I never totally understood it. But anyway, she almost didn't make it. She had like bloody diarrhea to the point she almost died. They finally got it stopped, and of course she was a twin with my younger brother. So they were born premature, and they were very, very little. We had to take the newborn Pampers and cut them in 2, and they were still big. And so anyway, so she all her life, she caught anything that came down the pike. I haven't asked how she did in COVID, but she would catch anything and everything. So her health was just never particularly good. And then she did end up with leukemia and ended up having a bone marrow transplant. My brother his health has been a little bit better, but I think he was a smoker a long time, and he is not now. And I think that he has improved. His health has improved since quitting smoking, but he has bad back problems, and so and I think his arthritis is getting bad, and I don't know. So he has had some health issues as well. So it seems like we all have had our fair share of health issues, and I think it could be because I think my brother and sister probably were a little bit better off maybe than when I was born with my brother, because I think by that time we were doing a little bit better financially, and since we lived on the farm, they were born after the farm. That's true. Well, we were going through a hard time then too, because Dad was sick. So I don't know. I guess we all probably suffered from maybe some malnutrition and stuff. I don't know. But anyway, so I was fairly healthy for a long time, but just seems like it started to erode. Um, I would like to start getting in more exercise. I really would. If the weather would kind of, I don't know if the weather's ever going to settle out. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. And it was funny because in the parachuting school, in that first part, when we were having the classes, I guess they were taking bets that I wouldn't do this. And I'm a lot gutsier than people think. So I came back, I went for lunch, and they figured I wouldn't come back for the jump because the second half of the day was the jump, was the actual jump. And of course, groups, we had, groups that had to go up. I think about 3 groups maybe went up. And I think I was in the second batch, I believe. But anyway, yeah, they told me later they were making bets I wouldn't do it. Well, I sure did. And so, yeah, it was interesting. You get up there, and I did not like the airplane. They had seats taken out in the back of the airplane, so we just sat on the floor of the airplane to wait to jump. And we, of course, had our chutes on and all this. And then when it came my time, I kind of had to crawl out there. Well, person went before me, and then I kind of got in position for the next. And then you go out and you put your foot on this little platform, you hang on to the strut, and you get in sort of a form where one foot is up, and when they say go, you jump to the side and you arch your back with your arms up, and the chute would deploy. Well, in my case, I felt the chute deploy because it's like this knocking around thing. And so I felt the chute deploy, but then I realized I was floating, so I'm not falling, so that's good. But you were supposed to then look up, and the reason you were to look up was to see that your chute was fully inflated and it didn't have any problems. There was no holes, there's no issues. Well, the thing was, when I tried to look up, I'm going, I can't look up. Something's keeping me from doing it. So I was hitting my head on the back of the lines. And so we had radios. And so they said, and I said, I can't seem to look up to see my chute. My head's hitting on something. And they said, yeah, we see you. They said, you've got a twist in your lines. And they said, just relax. It'll undo itself. You're going to spin. I went, oh, dear God. And I'm a little bit, I don't do, I am still a little bit motion sick. So when I'm in Iowa, they like their clover leaf exits a lot. I just about throw up on those every time. So anyway, yep, I spun like a top. Like, yep. And that's how it undid itself. And once it was finished, I was like, puke, puke, puke. I wasn't puking, but I wanted to. And once it finished, I was good to go. I looked up. Yes, I saw this big, beautiful chute all deployed above me. It was quite the sight. And then you had some time of just peace and quiet. There was a peace up there. There was a quiet that you can't imagine. Because there was just no noise. None. It was just like, wow, and you could see all over. The only thing was, I never got very good at being able to identify things from the air. I could not get my bearings for some reason. Looking down, a lot of people got to where they could. You have to kind of get used to it. And people very quickly started to pick up on buildings and things. I did not. I could not get my bearings when I was down there. And then what's funny is, you don't really have the sensation. You're going down slowly, but you don't really have that sensation. And so what's funny is, when you start to come up to the ground, when you get close, it comes fast. And then I had to kind of prepare. We had learned a way to drop and roll, basically, to absorb the shock, because we did not have the kind of things that you pull down and tippy-toe away. We did not have those chutes. So we had to, hit and roll, that type of thing. I guess my first 3 jumps I did okay. My 4th jump, I didn't land right. I came in the wrong way, and I ended up hurting my knee. And it's the same knee that's actually giving me some trouble this morning. And so, gosh, once you hurt your knees, it just comes back and back and back. But anyway, it was exciting. It was fun, and I did it 3 more times after the first time. Um, and it was interesting. But I have to say, you got to be prepared when you do it, because a lot of things can go wrong. And I had a friend who did it, and I think he said his first jump, he cracked vertebrae he hit wrong. Well, his first jump, his main chute did not deploy, and his reserve did. But the reserves aren't as good as chute. And so he made it, but he ended up, he had some cracked vertebrae. I think he actually broke some or something. I don't remember, but he was pretty badly injured, and that was his first jump. So, stuff can definitely happen. And I was very fortunate that nothing did happen to me. God was with me. He has been with me many, many times. But anyway, yeah. So that's all I have to say about skydiving. And I might put a picture on here. I've got a picture of me smiling and laughing when it was over. And I'm dressed in fatigues, like military. We all wore those for the jump that day. It was just Army Reserve stuff. One of the people, I think one or two of the people that did the jumps were actual ex-military, but most of us were just, hobbyists, basically. Well, that's about all I have on that, but I thought you'd be interested in hearing about it.